Hey everybody, I'm here with Mike. He is going to share his success story with us. Hey Mike, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. So how long have you been on carnivore now?
I've been on full-on carnivore for nearly a year now. I was on keto. I'm more of a meat heavy keto or carnivore-ish for about 3 years.
Awesome. And so how were you before carnivore?
So before carnivore, I was on like before keto carnivore, I was more on a standard American diet. So some of the protocols that I had there before was just eating a lot of processed food. I ate a lot of sugar because I did have a sweet tooth. So I felt terrible a lot of times. I had a lot of insulin spikes, and I still recall like when I was at my job, usually after lunches, or during lunch, we would go out to this bodega across the street, and that was like a bowl of like rice, and there was pork in there, so there was beans, but then I just could remember like after work, after eating that, going back to work at the office, I would be just like slumped over at my desk. Uh, but uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so that was I was eating a lot of still high carb as far as American based diet. It was a lot of plant based stuff. Even before that, I went through other protocols. I went back to a standard American diet because other things I've tried in the past were like vegan. I was a vegetarian. I put in with all the different other protocols like calories in, calories out, all that stuff. Never really was sustainable until I was able to get on, keto and now carnivore. And now I think it's what's optimized, everything like just not in just like nutrition standpoint, but just like in life in general, as far as like energy and just quality of life, I think is really what my main agenda is right now at this point with carnivore.
Awesome. And so how was your health before carnivore?
Yeah, so going back to just what I mentioned with quality of life, I suffered from chronic gout flare-ups or gout attacks. So for those that don't know what gout is basically an inflammatory condition. I would say like arthritis basically is a great way to describe it, but it's inflammation based on like the different certain foods specifically that affect me and then in others too. And it basically is a deposit of uric acid crystals in certain joints. So usually it's like the big toe, or it could be in any joint. Like I've had it in my knee, I've had it in my ankle, and several other toes. But how I felt when I was having, when I was in a standard American diet, I was having it chronically, like every couple of weeks, sometimes, once every week. But what it did was basically I was, active before I had my first gout flare up. I used to run. I used to, I was, pretty fit, went to the gym. But when you have those flare ups, you really literally cannot do anything except for just like lay there on bed or just lay in the sofa. And I would get depressed because I mean, I had so many things to do, and I couldn't do a lot of those things that I like to do. So just like taking mobility for granted, right? And then not having that mobility, not being able to go to the grocery store or just simple things like go to the refrigerator to get water. I was literally like on crutches. I would hobble my way there to
Wow.
get to a water. So I would just like tell my kids, bring me a bunch of bottled waters because I'm not going anywhere for like the next couple of days, and it was bad. And I decided that I don't want that. And what happened was I eliminated a lot of different foods, and that's where I just really kind of narrowed it down to just eating meat wasn't doing anything to me. It wasn't causing any triggering any gout attacks or flare ups, and that's contrary to a lot of what our traditional medicine. Like my doctor, when I was diagnosed, I was sent a list of different foods to avoid. There was a lot of different items on there, but on that list was red meat. Also, like organ meats, you should avoid those because they could help. They could potentially lead to gout flare-ups. But for me, I think I just it, the elimination of those other things was actually what was causing the gout. And by doing that, that basically mitigated it. And, I've been flare up free since then. And I'm going to keep it that way because I know exactly what happens. Because, you know, I've slipped up, just full disclosure, like, my kids are not full carnivore, they're not keto, but they still have junk food around. But if I slip up and I have like a piece of cake or like a cookie or something like that, I will feel it. And I was like, I can't, So that's what really motivates me to not even go there, even though I have a sweet tooth, because I know good things are not going to happen if I do that. And
Right.
there's a lot of different theories. There's a lot of mechanisms. It's really hard to tell what the exact specific trigger is, but just in general, I think just curbing the insulin spikes and then uh, healing the inflammation, fixing the insulin resistance, eliminating the sugars, the industrial seed oils. And I think, I also suspect that oxalates may have something to do with that too. But there's still a lot of, I know there's still a lot of research, but I found that when I was on keto, I was still having them not quite as often because keto definitely did help out. But I think like I was still eating massive amounts of spinach. I was still eating lots of almonds through like almond flour from all the keto treats, and just
Mhm.
eating, snacking on almonds all day. I think definitely did not help because I would still get those gout flare ups every now
Wow. Amazing. And so you started doing carnivore. What kind of meals did you have? Like what kind of food did you eat?
So when I started carnivore, I kept it fairly simple from what I had already been doing with keto, which means that I just eliminated the vegetable portion on my plate. So my typical meal prior to that was just, a steak and like some cauliflower rice, or a steak and like some kind of green veggie. So I just took that out and just ate the steak, I ate the burger, I ate the ground beef, I ate some eggs, and then I kind of experimented with some organ meats. I went with liver. I ate liver when I was young, but not as an adult. So I incorporated that back into the protocol. And liver, I like. A lot of people don't like it, but I like the flavor. I like it cooked. I did or frozen because you don't have to taste it; you just have to swallow it. I've done the raw thing too, and I've chewed that because it's just the raw is not my thing, but I have to have it nicely seared on the outside. It could still be a little pink in the inside. To me, that tastes good. But and then I experimented with like oxtail, different cuts. I've experimented with suet. I've tried that. I wasn't initially a big fan of it, but maybe it was just bad suet that I had. It was grass fed, grass finished, but it was just, to me, the first time I tried it, it was like super waxy, and
Yeah.
it took a lot to chew and to put down. Maybe I just took too big of a bite. I learned you gotta chop them up into like small little pieces so that way you can eat them. But I tried it fried too. I think I preferred it fried, like just a little bit seared. I've done bone marrow, but I haven't ventured off into like other organs like kidneys. So for that, right now, recently I was just taking like the organ complex capsules, which are those desiccated organs. But that's what I started with. Right now, where I'm at with my carnivore journey, I still keep it very simple, minimal. And I'm the type of person that can eat the same thing every single day and not get tired of it. The only reason I add variety to it is because my kids get tired of eating the same thing every single day. Like, steak again, Dad. It's like, so, I
Wow.
mix it up. Right now I've been incorporating like we've had pork chops. I still do like pork belly. Might do some more chicken. Might do some salmon and things like that. But for me, I can eat ribeyes every single day, and that's it. And maybe put some eggs in there, some cheese.
Mhm.
Because we're all busy, and I think that for me, just as simple as possible. I consider myself like a minimalist carnivore. That this the steak, but once in a while it's good to have those different recipes. To have the different types of dishes just to mix it up. Especially when it comes to the kids, they like they like variety, unlike me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think we have similar tastes because I'm the same way with the liver. I can't do it raw. I've tried it multiple times. I can't even do it frozen raw.
Yeah.
But I like it. Oh yeah, we're part of the slightly seared liver club.
Yeah. The slightly seared liver gang.
Yeah, and yeah, the same with the other stuff too. I saw that pork belly you had was that last night or the night
Yeah,
before?
it was last night. Yeah, so I put it on the auto. So I just got the auto wild grill the last few days. So I've been experimenting different meats on it. So that thing is a great tool. So I'll
That's
be my charcoal grill is going to be gathering dust for a while because I usually do charcoal and then I used to do a lot of reverse searing on the
awesome.
cast iron. My favorite way is to cook my steaks and my beef, but now like the auto is like
It's just like a
the thing
one-stop
I've been
shop.
using. Yeah, it's just so easy, so convenient.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And so, did you have any issues with carnivore whenever you started?
No, the transition honestly was very seamless from keto because for me, I was already pretty much fat adapted as far as my body being used to being able to run on body fat and then dietary fat. So I didn't really have any symptoms other than basically my digestion got better because now I wasn't including any of those the fiber from all the plant foods I was consuming. So it just got even better when I transitioned to carnivore. So there wasn't really any issues that I experienced as far as negative issues.
That's awesome. And so I know you mentioned a couple other benefits earlier, but again, what are all the benefits that you've seen since going carnivore?
Well, since going carnivore, my satiety has gotten a lot better. So even when I was on keto, I would still eat maybe up to 3 meals a day. I would have my keto coffee like in the morning, which was a heavy whipping cream or MCT oil or heavy whipping cream and some butter. And then I would have like a medium sized meal late in the afternoon and then another one at night. Now with carnivore, I basically eat once a day. It's not because I want to eat that way. It's just I'm not hungry, so I just wait until my body's natural hunger signal tells me that it's time to eat, and then I'll eat. But I'm not gonna stop myself if, let's say, if I get hungry a little bit earlier in the day, I'll eat like something small like eggs or bacon, and then later on in the evening, that's when I'll cook my main meal, which will just pretty much be some sort of beef item. But yeah, that's what's changed really is because now it's like my hunger signals are, and that my relationship to food more is like I see it as it's just fuel, and I still enjoy it. Steak tastes great every single time, and I get tired of it. But it's not like, oh man, I gotta have this steak or I gotta have it's the same. It's a different kind of a craving for foods that I used to have from before, and it's more of it's just time to fuel up, and it's provided that
Right. Yeah.
simplicity.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Your body, yeah. Yeah, your body's just hungry for energy, not just cravings.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so you also said that you pretty much like basically healed your gout also.
Yes. So that definitely has mitigated nothing as far as what I plan to actually do. And this is just out of curiosity, and it's not because the doctors or the lab tests will tell me that I'm better, because I just feel better, right, in general. But I will definitely be doing some labs just so I can see where all my numbers are, like my uric acid levels, and we'll see where my cholesterol and my A1C and those kind of things, just so I can, just for curiosity's sake, I was planning to do that in February because that'll be about my 1 year full carnivore, and then just to compare it to what I had prior to that. And, yeah.
Awesome. Sweet. Yeah. Well, when you get those lab results, make sure you send them in to Meet RX because I know we'll
Oh
love to
yeah,
have on
for
there. I
sure,
know other people putting their lab results up there, so that'd be really good to have.
absolutely.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, thanks for taking the time out to share your success story, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.